Do you think bullying is still common in Japan today? Because you said that you experienced a lot of bullying in the past, but what about today?
Okay, this is, I mean, I don't think in Japan there's any bullying that's outright bullying. It's always those small instances that kind of go on top of each other and build up until you feel like, oh, I think people are, you know,
you look back.
I think people are trying to isolate me.
Right.
And one thing that recently happened is in the beginning of this year, we had our school trip to Australia. And in the flight back to Japan, the friend that was beside me, she was like, oh, you know, I've always had a fear of speaking to foreigners. And I was like,
why?
Oh, okay. And that caught me really off guard. Like, how are you scared of a person? Foreigners are just people. Yeah. She was like, oh, you know, I've never had any foreigners in middle school, which is understandable. In rural areas, there's not that many, you know, foreigners.
Right. Yeah.
And when I came into the same class as you, I never thought I'd actually get close to you because, you know, foreigners tend to be loud and, you know, I never thought that I could get along with them.
Classic stereotypes.
Yeah. And she was like, but you're a good foreigner.
A good foreigner.
Yeah, you're easy to talk to. Like, you're normal to me. She literally said futsu. You feel futsu to me. Futsu means normal in Japanese.
So does that mean that foreigners are abnormal?
Well, if you yeah, basically. And I think this is not bullying, but it is very backhanded, and it can make you feel like, I don't know, because maybe it's my fault or something, because I do, you know, try to hide a lot of things about myself.
To blend in? Or?
To blend in, of course, to fit in. Because if people knew that I eat with my hands sometimes, they would not like that. In geography class, we were learning about how in some Asian countries, people eat with their hands.
Right.
And they were like, Manami, do you actually eat with your hands? And they were looking at me in such great faces, and I didn't have the heart to like tell them,
That's
you know,
so
yeah,
nice.
I do actually. It's very normal, and it's actually very clean. We wash our hands. You eat pizza with your hand. You eat burgers with your hand.
And nobody questions that.
Yeah. I wish I had stood up, but I couldn't. I didn't say that, oh yeah, I do. What's wrong with that? I couldn't say that, but I wish I could. I think I will from now on. But besides that, there's a lot of instances where people say, oh, you're a good foreigner. For example, yesterday, actually, it's very timely. There was this neighbor who came to our house. She has a good new friendship with my mom. And I asked her, oh, what were you guys talking about? And my mom was like, oh, like today she was talking about how the new government is doing very well. And I will not disagree with that. It's the first woman prime minister of Japan, and I'm very supportive of that. But as a foreigner, I do also have to acknowledge that she's very anti-immigration, anti-foreigners. And but the neighbor lady said, oh, but she's trying to remove all the dictator Chinese people. But, Ruksana, my mom's name, Ruksana-san, don't worry. Your children speak Japanese very well. We want people like your daughters to come to our companies and, work for us and do very well. You guys are good foreigners. Like, we want good foreigners like you. First of all, you can't really classify all Chinese people as dictators. I'm not really sure about the politics, so I'm not going to talk about that, but you can't really classify all Chinese people to be bad. Wrong. Maybe there are. Maybe there are
good people and bad people.
Of course, because there's a lot of Chinese students that I know from middle school. Yeah. And they were very, very nice kids. They were very friendly. Yeah. They have good sense of humor. And we used to play in, parks and hang out all the time. It was totally fine with us. And I've never had any bad experiences with them. And also, second, you can't really classify someone as a good foreigner and the other a bad foreigner and think that, oh, I'll feel happy.
That's just...
Because who are you to judge that who's a good foreigner or a bad foreigner,
Exactly.
So, I think these small remarks here and there, they're very passively racist. Outright bullying does not exist, but there are a lot of experiences that will make you feel like, oh, what is this?
Yeah, I agree. So you've shared a lot of like some controversial experiences you've had with Japanese people. What do you think could be done to make this situation better?
This is, I think, a very difficult question because there's so many problems happening at once, and I'm just one experience you're starting out with, and there's going to be so many other experiences you'll hear. But I think the most important thing would be to start from education. If we learned more how to just learning about different cultures and that there are different colors for skin tones.
Yeah. I feel like we briefly learn about that during like our English classes in middle school.
And
I feel like that's pretty late. We should be taught about this kind of things in like from elementary school.
Of course. And
especially since the number of foreigners is increasing in Japan.
Yeah.
People should be more aware of this.
Increasing, you can't.
You should still be informed.
Because for school trips, you'll obviously go outside, and the more we progress towards the future, people will want to. There's like a global world going on, and people travel from here to there all the time.
Yeah.
And for you to like be able to talk to people when you go outside of Japan, because it's inevitable.
Yeah.
You're going to have to know how to act or what kind of manners there are to talk to people.
Yeah.
And even if we learn in middle school that there are different skin tones, when you look through the English books, most of them are white people.
True.
So there's very few people that are dark.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think we should definitely have classes to know about, racism and what things can be said, what things can't be said. And yeah, these little things. I actually want to talk about our junior high school because I think it was a very, very great environment.
International
environment. Actually, me and you, we were both in the same volleyball club, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure you remember that more than half of the team were foreigners. Yeah. So
pretty unique.
Very unique.
Club.
You have me, you have you, and then we had a Malaysian kid and another kid from I think Lithuania, and then 3 other Japanese kids.
Yeah.
So it's basically 4 versus 3 if we're going to divide,
Yeah.
But I think we had a very good relation in the club. I mean, in the first year, it was kind of, dodgy because we also had a transfer student from America for half a year who was mixed. Her mom was Japanese and her dad was American.
Yeah.
But there was this little disagreement going on in our club where one of the Japanese students were like, oh, you should just go back to your country, to her. But, she's, her mom's Japanese, so she's basically right where she's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And even, she also pointed that out to me, like, you should go back to your country. We 3 were talking in the same place. And I feel like, my parents, your parents, have worked very hard to come to this country. It's a wonderful country, like, the opportunities, the environment is great. And our parents always want the best for us,
of course,
to give us a good environment to study.
Yeah.
But we also have to understand that there were a lot of things they had to put in stake, and there were a lot of hardships. So just, casually saying go back to your country is very hurtful, and it should be acknowledged that what we're doing is very hard, and actually the Japanese government took us in. It's not like we illegally came in or something. We came here and we're qualified to be here. We didn't naturally just come here. We're qualified to be here.
And our parents worked really
very,
hard
very
for
hard.
us to be here.
So it's very, I think, selfish
Yeah.
to say this, but I'm glad to say that now we have a very good relationship. We've, outgrown those conflicts.
Yeah.
And in that school, there were a lot of Chinese people. There were a lot of kids that came from
Afghanistan.
Yeah, we had a lot of refugee students. Our school was one of the first schools in Japan to take refugees in. Yeah, because Japan launched a program where refugees can come into Japan, but our school was one of the first schools to actually open that program. And we had actually 15 students in our first year and we were.
It was a big change.
It was a very big change
everyone.
for everyone, but I think we had a very good time. We were in the last year of graduating from junior high, right? 9th grade.
Yeah. I feel like the teachers also made a big effort
Very
to like
big
include
effort.
everyone
Yes,
and everything.
yes, I think so too.
They were really open-minded.
Very open-minded, I think, because this is a public school, public middle school, and for them to go to that extent, I think most of those unusual, but most of them were very, I think, unpaid work, you can say, because staying after class to teach them and everything.
Yeah.
So in our school we had this committee to learn about behaviors. I think it was a very exclusive thing for only our school. We did it way before the refugees came.
Yeah, we did.
I think even though the teachers were public school teachers, they adapted to the environment very well. Yeah. And the behavioral program, we had this thing called peer support time. It was called on time. So and then on, so off and on. So on time,
right?
Where we learned how to talk to others without being hurtful. I wish they did this all over in Japan. Back then, I used to.
That was so useful.
That was very useful.
Looking back at it.
Back then, I didn't really like it. I was like, okay, this is such a waste of time. Like, why are we talking about? Oh, you need to be open to the person you're listening to.
You need to look at them.
You need to look at their eyes. You need to be in a relaxed position. Like, why do we need this? We're literally like 14, 13. But it was a time for people to get out of their classrooms and make different groups from different classes, different grades, and different foreigners. We basically created a different classroom where we gathered all the foreign kids in one room, where the foreign kids that studied here from 7th grade could teach the new Afghan students how life is in Japan and how things are done in the school, and just show them around. And I think, and there were a lot of mixed kids too, and a few Japanese kids too, to help us out in this program. And it was basically like 30 people out of 210 people. So it's like 1/7 of the whole school is foreigners. We found out. At first, the Afghan kids were very confused about this program, and they didn't like it. And it was a chaos, it was a mess. But with the help of Japanese teachers, Japanese friends, and you were one of the, first students that came into our class. And, just us in general, we made a very beautiful environment.
I feel like I was very eager to help them because I went through the same thing that they went through, and I had very little to no help in my journey, towards learning Japanese. I didn't want them to feel the same way that I felt or that you felt.
Yeah.
And I wanted to help them explore, how life is in Japan, and I didn't want them to feel lonely.
Yeah.
I wanted them to know that there's someone who they can count on and to talk to.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things. That was also one of my biggest goals, just to not make them feel lonely. They were always being pushed to talk to each other, but we wanted to kind of break that barrier.
Yeah.
And after that program being launched, things got great very progressively. And at the end of the year, the Afghan students were like, we're so grateful for this program. And it's still apparently being continued to this day.
Oh, that's so good to hear.
Yeah, it's in most Japanese schools you can't really do that.
Yeah.
And I wish, programs like these, helping people to know how to communicate, that's one of the biggest ways to bring changes, I feel like.
That's also kind of what I'm trying to do with this project.
Yeah,
I'm trying to spread the word out of how life really is in Japan, because I feel like a lot of people have their own ideas of what life is in a certain country, but they're not 100% sure that that's the way it is, So I want to spread awareness about what's going on in Japan and how people around our age feel and their stories, and I want people to be able to also share their own personal stories. And
I think it's a very great thing you're doing, because if you look through YouTube, there's a lot of foreigners that are a bit older talking about their experiences in Japan, but I think it's very hard to find content from foreigners and
from different backgrounds
as well, because we're already so just catching up with life, and it's very hard to take such initiatives. So I think I'm very glad to be doing this with you, and I really hope that it flourishes in the future.
Me too. What's your favorite thing about living here?
Okay, well, I definitely have to say that it's a very safe country. Because in recent years, like my high school years, I had to go out a lot for my extracurricular activities. And I also have a business that I'm trying to bring out in Bangladesh. It's a woman-only taxi app, Shield. I'm sorry for promoting it in your content. But yeah, Shield. So I have to stay out late in Tokyo for until like very late, actually 10 p.m. or something, because my pitch events end around 10. And then I get home at like 1 a.m. and nothing happens. Wow. I get to my station at like 12:30 and then walk to my house for like 2 kilometers alone at night, and there's no people, and I'm a girl, but nothing happens. I've done it multiple times, but it's always very safe. So I'm definitely gonna have to say that, like, it's a very safe environment, and it's also very, very clean.
Yeah, the public toilets in most countries, they're like not really good quality, and they're like mostly
it's hard
dirty
to get into.
And yeah, but like Japanese public toilets are so clean and so well taken care of.
I think also it really shows that Japanese people maintain stuff even if there's no cleaning ladies all the time. They're going to clean by themselves.
Yeah, that's true.
That's something very respectable.
That since they were little.
Yeah, so I think that's very respectable. And they're good people, actually, because I have a lot of Japanese friends. I did talk about a lot of instances where people made some controversial comments, but I also have to say that there are a lot of Japanese friends that understand and are empathetic towards my experiences. And there's a lot of Japanese kids I've been meeting recently that want to go abroad and study abroad and want to learn more about these and be a better person for the society. So I think, there's a lot of hope towards the future, because a lot of Japanese friends that I have are very nice and kind people.
I agree. What was the most difficult thing for you to get used to when you came back to Japan from Bangladesh?
One big culture shock was when I went to my friend's house to hang out, like, come outside to go to the park. They made me wait outside of their homes. But in Bangladesh, that's very like rude to do. You need to invite them at least to your living room.
Same, in Italy.
And you make them sit down. Too. Yeah, exactly. You make them sit down, have a glass of juice or water and some kind of little sweets. You always have sweets in a child's house, right? So these things, like not letting your friends come inside your house for like 5 minutes, they're going to make you wait outside, even if it's scorching hot or even if it's like snowing. It doesn't matter. Like, I think that's a very big culture shock for me, and I still can't get used to that whenever they're like, wait outside here for a few minutes.
Right.
And also it's very important in Bangladesh to respect your elders and go inside the house to greet the friend's mom or something, like, hey, how are you doing?
Right.
And basically your friend's mom will know you know? The friend's mom will know you and you'll know the mom, and just this community vibe, I think.
You'll build like a relationship with your friend's family too.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll make you feel closer to them.
It's basically like a second family.
Doesn't really happen.
Neighbor, and also like speaking to neighbors is very rare too.
Yeah, that's so true.
Things like that.
We barely say hello or good morning. Or sometimes, like, there was this one time where we both went out at the same time, and that neighbor went back in their home because I'm assuming they probably didn't want to greet us. Maybe because
it was awkward.
Or I don't know why, but I thought that was kind of odd, because in Italy they kind of teach you to like always greet people everywhere. And so that was kind of a weird experience.
That's a very big culture shock for me, just not talking to your neighbors or like talking to your friends' parents and these things.
Okay, so I have a Romanian passport, which is not, as strong as the Japanese passport and others. So I think you can relate with some of the visa issues and paperwork that I've faced in the past. And since Bangladesh is a lower middle income country, what issues have you faced with the visa, especially now that you're moving to another country for college?
This is a very good and important question, I feel like, because, I had to go to a lot of different places over my high school career, England and Australia, and I always have to line up in a different line to enter the country and have to make my Japanese friends wait. And these little things can make you feel very isolating, and people question why are you waiting in a different line, and then just
It happened to me too when I went to Australia. I had to go to a different place for my passport.
exactly, me too. And the teacher came with me, but the teacher doesn't really understand anything. And things like these is very isolating, I feel like. And also, the immigrant office that we have to go frequently when our visa starts to end. They actually, the last time I went there, they were very rude to me. And
Really?
yeah, they're not nice because it's really crowded. And I think there's not enough resources for the amount of foreigners that go there. And it's so crowded, and you can't finish in the day that you go, and you have to continually go there. And I have to be absent in the school. And they lost my birth certificate. They're not giving it back. We've been trying to look for it for 6 months, and I don't have a birth certificate
How is that
right now.
legal?
I don't know, but
Can you sue them or something?
that thing too in Japan, for foreigners to sue a Japanese person, it's very hard. So these are things that get very overlooked, and I think these are important to see, that even though Japanese people pride themselves on the good service they give, when it comes to foreigners, the quality is very foreigner-like, I'd say. So when Japanese people expect good from foreigners, I think there should be good services for foreigners too.
I agree, 100%. Now, the last and final question. Is there something you wish Japanese people understood better about foreigners?
I think, just being more open-minded and really being careful if I'm allowed to say this, or if they put themselves in our shoes, I'm pretty sure they would understand that some of the remarks they make are very, rude. And just the fact that, many foreigners are seen that are causing trouble, but in their country, that's their norms. And it should be kind of like seen that, they came to this country, they tried very hard, they wouldn't deliberately go and do something wrong.
Right.
So I think it's important to have a kind heart and just, help them when there's problems, and be open that we have our own problems that we're dealing with, and we're trying our best to accommodate to the Japanese culture too.
Thank you so much, Manami, for participating in Lives Across Cultures, Voices from Japan. It was a pleasure having you here, and I hope we can do this again sometime.
Thank you so much for having me.
This is the end of this interview with Manami, and you're listening to Lives Across Cultures, Voices from Japan. This was your host, Daria. See you in the next episode. Bye!